G'day, I'm Sam, and this is the 2026 Yamaha YZ450F. I'm really excited for this one. Now, like a hard-nosed bloke that's ready to show off his softer side, Yamaha has made wholesale improvements to this race-winning machine for 2026. We already sort of knew it as the Angry 450, right? Ever since this platform came out in 2023. Well, now for this year, they've made extensive changes to the engine, the frame, they've introduced a new hydraulic clutch, all aimed at making this bike potentially a little bit more metered than before. Now, we did a walk around of this bike statically at Yamaha HQ only a few weeks ago, so if you want all of the nuts and bolts, check that out. Today is about riding it. Let's go and check out Appin. Okay, so as I mentioned, check out that walk around vid because it goes into quite extensive detail about what Yamaha have done for this bike for 2026. But in essence, they've tried to make it more approachable. If you're not an Eli Tomac or a Cooper Webb, they want this bike to be, I guess, easier to ride and faster to ride over the length of a moto. So in short, there's changes to the frame, there's a thinner down tube, thinner outer perimeter of frame as well, aimed at making the bike feel more planted, more balanced. There's some revisions to the KYB forks and shocks, same basic fork and shock setup as before, but I guess the changes here are aimed at reducing the initial harshness of the suspension. So again, you know, less clamming on with your arms, less getting fatigued, less getting tired. Then of course the engine, Yamaha said they worked to reduce the tumble effect of the engine for 2026, which is very clever marketing speak, but again, I think it comes back to a more linear power curve, more meter power curve. The 2023 Yamaha YZ450F and the subsequent versions they can be metered in their engine maps. You can choose different maps to obviously soften it, but quite hard hitting initially. And I think that's what potentially has scared some people away from this bike because it's got a reputation as the Angry 450 in the class. So I'm really keen to see how the engine changes have transpired. And of course, the introduction of a hydraulic clutch. I said it a couple of weeks ago, it feels lighter to take in. It's going to reduce arm pump hopefully over the length of a moto and fatigue in the arms as well. And I'm hoping that all of these changes will conspire to make this bike, I guess, easy to ride over 20 minutes. You know, the one lap dash, you can still be as quick, but more importantly, you'll be quicker over race distance. So some other important changes, cosmetic changes all around. Again, have a look at the walk around video for the full detail because today is about riding this bike. Let's get out there. Okay, so what a day here at the Appin Motorcycle Complex, just southwest of Sydney. There's been a lot of rain here over the past couple of weeks, about 200 millimetres. So yesterday when we came here, we actually got to ride Jed Beaton's CDR factory Yamaha Monster Energy bike. There was a crust on the surface and then a lot of water underneath, whereas they've come in overnight and ripped it. So some really deep ruts, some hard edges forming. And the other thing to contend with, just another variable to throw in the mix, some wind that has sort of blown in and blowing us sideways over a lot of the jumps. So we were a little bit limited in terms of the testing. It was sort of risk versus reward, but a really good first impression of the 2026 YZ450F. Now, if Yamaha, I guess, wanted to concentrate on making this bike more rideable, I think they've actually succeeded. I don't think it's going to be mistaken as the mellow 450 of the class. It still has that hard-hitting edge to it, but there is a softer veneer there for 2026, and it's quite telling. I think the combination of the engine changes and the heavier flywheel in particular means that you can now come into a turn maybe in third gear instead of second gear. The thing will happily chug through. It's less prone to conking out because of that heavy flywheel as well. And with the engine being more metered, you can now lean on the torque available from the engine. It's still hard hitting. You know, I think playing with the Power Tuner app is going to expose more of that or potentially mellow it. It's just a middle ground setting that we played with today. But yeah, and also if you hit the same turn in second gear, it still has a lot of the tendencies of the previous bike, and that is accelerator really connected to the rear wheel, so it's prone to sort of like lift the rear wheel out of there. But like I said, there is a more mellow side to it if you want it to be, because you can run a gear higher, the thing will lug through, It's not going to conk out because of the flywheel, and it's got that beautiful linear and metered power band from there forward. The other huge advantage of the Yamaha is its maps and its electronics. We spent the day playing around with both its softer blue map and its more aggressive map, and reckon there's something there for everyone. On the tricky Appin surface, the blue map and its traction control setting in particular were your best friend, streamlining the riding process significantly and really assisting you with power down. For the more experienced rider, the harder hitting mode offers no shortage of punch or power, especially spikier power if that's what you prefer. So I have really enjoyed my time on the bike. I think too the changes focused around making it a little bit more planted as well have come true too. They've really materialised because, again, over broken surfaces, through deep ruts and things like that, I felt like it was really planted. There's none of the knifiness that you get from more aggressive bikes, maybe bikes like the YZ450 from the past couple of years. Instead, this is a nice middle ground. The other side of the coin there, a couple of instances today where potentially with some other bikes in the class, the KTM, maybe the CRF, some of those bikes you just think about changing direction or going for a rut and it's there. The Yamaha's had a tendency in recent years where you've got to kind of really muscle it over. It's not that extreme anymore, but it's still a trait with this bike that I kind of wonder, you know, it'd be not interesting to back-to-back this against a 25 to see whether the change they have made while making it more planted have maybe made it potentially a little bit harder to kind of navigate through tighter spaces. The hydraulic clutch, certainly a little bit lighter. I'm not going to say it stopped arm pump for me because it's been a while since I've ridden, but nice even take up. It worked really well. Gearbox ratios are spot on. A lot of time in second, third, fourth here at this Appin circuit. I think, yeah, the fact it won't conk out, the fact you can use high gears if you want to, or lean on the power band and really rev through is a redeeming trait with this bike. 450s are never short on power. This one revs to the moon if you want it to. I think a more elite guy is going to be able to pick it apart at the higher echelons of the rev range, but for me, low range, mid-range power, the really relevant stuff, it felt right on the money. No complaints with tyres or anything like that. The suspension with these bikes is amazing. I love the KYB gear. I run the SSS forks on my own YZ450 with some gold valving, but even without that, it's still a really nice damping action. I think if they, you know, the talk around them removing some of the initial harshness of the suspension has come to fruition too, because over the top of pitter-patter bumps, this thing does feel super planted and confidence inspiring. And I guess that's the point here. There is still an angry side to the YZ450 if you want it to be angry. And I think more changes, more playing around with the mapping and stuff like that will definitely show people that. But there's a more approachable side too. So I think, you know, like I said at the start, like a hard-nosed bloke that's trying to show off his softer side, we've seen today that the YZ450F can be a little bit more mellow. I've really enjoyed my time on it. I'm looking forward to doing some more shoots with it in the future, so keep an eye out on the channel for that. Potentially a comparison as well. If you enjoyed this content, please be sure to like and subscribe to the RIDDEN channel with loads more reviews, comparisons, features and cool retro pieces coming your way.